Hi Gemini, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your April 2021 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Gemini. How will Gemini be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Gemini. How will Gemini be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Gemini. How will Gemini be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Gemini. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. Ooh, okay. All right, we're going to start with these. Fantastic. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And what's beautiful about this moon is it's the pink moon. It's named by the Native Americans because this is the time of year where the flowers bloom. So it's such a beautiful, beautiful moon. All right. And this moon is, of course, on the 26th of April, and we're doing this reading from the 26th of April to the 26th of May, which is where the next full moon is. What's really cool about these moons right now is that they're both supermoons. The last moon, which was in Libra, was almost a supermoon. Like, it came so close to being a supermoon, but it wasn't. So the intensity of that moon was quite powerful. And now we have this supermoon, and then the next supermoon, which will also be a lunar eclipse. So the energy is spectacular. Okay, so the left-hand side here is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. Let's see what the cards have to say. We start off with the Knight of Swords. This is the Gemini energy coming through. The Knight, the defender. This is air sign energy, of course, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. We have the Six of Cups. We have the Four of Cups. And we have the Three of Swords. Interesting. We have the Nine of Cups. We have the Moon, which is Pisces energy. Time frame is February 19th to March 20th. We have the Ten of Swords, the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. And then we have the Ten of Cups. So the repeat of the number 10, we're coming very close to a completion of a cycle. And then the Ten of Cups is happiness and joy and prosperity in our mind. Things can be a little bit bleaker, but in our hearts, things are really quite beautiful, and we're moving towards that beauty. The Two of Wands comes forward here, and it crowns us. We then have the Hermit, which is Virgo energy, time frame August 23rd to September 22nd. We have the Four of Swords. Rest is going to be so important, especially since we have the Page of Swords coming out, and this can be child energy, you know, a young air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But this is also us becoming students. And it's kind of like we need to step back, we need to rest, because we can't learn if we're going to always have our foot on the gas pedal. If we always have the foot on the gas pedal, we are going to feel like, oh, I'm not doing things quick enough, I have to just keep going, I have to just keep pushing. And this is saying the exact opposite. This moon, which is in Scorpio, okay, this full moon is in Scorpio. Scorpio is, of course, ruled by Pluto, and this brings us the power of death, rebirth, and regeneration coming forward. Evolution and metamorphosis is what this moon is all about. And so here we have that with the Ten of Swords. In our mind, it's like, I'm not the same person that I was. And we can be really nostalgic about that, heartbroken, but also there's a sense of beauty. I was just talking to one of my friends who does the tarot, and he said, like, with the Six of Cups, he's like, oh, it's such a beautiful card. And I was like, what do you mean? Because it's so different than the way I look at the Six of Cups. So his way of seeing things has kind of permeated into my mind, which will be coming forward during this time, because I looked at it and I was like, oh, a release. But it's a release from the past. It's a release from past pains, past hurts, past disappointments, kind of trying to live up to expectations, which will never be able to be realized again. So there's power here, Gemini, that is really quite exquisite. And before we dive into everything that this moon holds, everything that's here before us, let's just see what the moon has to say for herself right off the bat. And of course, we will end with the full moon getting to speak for herself again. So let's see here. Ooh, goodness. Okay, so obviously this one. These have all been shuffled and meditated upon beforehand. How will Gemini be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Ooh, I love how your cards, Gemini, are just coming right out. It's like, no, I want to be heard, I want to be seen, and that's going to be kind of this time for us. I want to be heard, I want to be seen, you know, look at where I need to be, let's stop with the nonsense, let's stop with all the bull, and let's just get to kind of like the heart of the matter. And that's going to be us during this time. It's very interesting because during this full moon, okay, Saturn is in Aquarius, with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus will be all in conjunct with Uranus. So Uranus heightens the disruptance in the world. There we go, I can speak. And because Mercury represents and rules communication and the urge to communicate, which is what Gemini is all about. We're all about communication. During this time, we're going to have the heightened discords within communication coming forward, which could be like, oh my gosh, I don't want any more battles. But it doesn't mean that we have to be in battles. Actually, I'm not seeing a lot of battles here at all. It's just saying, I'm not lying anymore. I'm not pretending things are okay when they aren't. I'm saying this truth and I'm moving forward in it. So it brings us to the moon telling us there's change, there's extremes, which makes complete and utter sense. There's the sacred masculine coming forward, lunar god. We have trust, discernment, and self-reflection. Okay, so we are moving towards a time of change. Now, this is a time where we start to see clearly the change and the limitations that we need to overcome. So the change that we are being resistant to. There we go. Resistant to. We're looking at the change and saying, I can't let this happen. And yet, if we kind of step back and say, I can't stop it. You know, I can't stop the world from turning. I can't stop the phases of the moon. I can't stop the phases of my life. You know, then we start to see ourselves more. We start to see more power. We start to see things more succinctly, more honestly. We're going to start to be able to see the gifts that are coming our way, which actually feel like curses at the time or at the time that they were given. It's like, well, how the heck am I going to deal with this now? And it brings us to a place of greater realization. It brings us to a place of greater understanding. And extremes are absolutely part of this time because we're looking at the issues of trust and control and power that this moon brings forward. This moon brings us to the place, and of course Saturn in Aquarius, all right, Saturn calls us to show up and kind of shut up, you know, that old saying. You know, we want to take responsibility for things, and yet with Aquarius we want to be self-contemplative, and we also want to be a bit eccentric. So we have these extremes coming forward, and it's like, well, how do I embrace them? How do I move to where I want to be? How do I know what it is that I desire? So the extremes come forward and they bring up our fears, and that's why they're over our fears. And yet we have blessings, we have wishes coming true that we're not going to be able to see right away because things get hard, things get real, things it is life. I mean, it's not always roses and sunshine and beauty and serenity as much as we would like it to be. It's not always that. You know, the Buddhist statement that life is suffering is so beautiful. It just is so beautiful. The Christian statement where you pick up your cross and you carry it is beautiful, because it's like life is not about the joyous moments. It's about savoring the joyous moments when they come. And it's about being able to say, I can hold this as it is happening. I can hold the cross that I have to bear. I can hold space for forgiveness and kindness and respect within myself. And there becomes this shift within us, which makes us mighty people. And what if we had a world of mighty people? What if we had a world of people who were aware of their own spiritual self, if they were aware of their own sense of power, not physical power, but compassionate power? I mean, that sounds like a world I would like to live in. And it brings us to the masculine. It brings us to the sense of the sacred masculine being so important during this time. It is important to understand that, yes, the phases of the moon are intrinsically and powerfully feminine, but there is a masculine aspect to it. Could it be the dark side of the moon? Could it be what's not really understood and yet thought of a lot? You know, what is it here that we want? What is it that we're moving towards? What is it that we desire? Because the moon is the moon. It's like a woman is a woman. You don't have to have rituals and rites over cultures to become a woman. A girl becomes a woman just naturally. But a man, you always have these traditional rites that happen. So here, there's power to that. There's power in that understanding, in that form of the story of human existence, of how we're moving forward, and it moves us to trust what we want, to trust how we want to move forward, what we desire, what we're looking for, what we need, what pain that we have been through, and yet the gifts that get to move us out of that pain. Discernment. We can't let everybody in. We can't. It's kind of like the reasons why we lock our doors and we don't just leave them open when we leave the house. You know, if we would not let everybody come into our house and take our stuff, why would we let people come into our souls and take our energy? That's going to be so important, the discernment, this sense of, all right, you know what? No, I get to choose. I get to choose the energy that is around me. I get to choose the people that I align myself with. And it brings us to self-reflection. It brings us to a sense of being a student and also stepping back and saying, I have to be kinder to myself. This moon is going to be really kind of intense in the fact that I get to be kinder to myself. I don't get to just think I have to grin and bear it, or just think, okay, maybe one day it'll get better. It's like, no, I am moving towards a better and more profound future. And this is part of who I am. Now this moon, the full moon, always tells us to surrender to the divine, because that's where our power is. To have the spotlight on what we want and what we desire and how we're moving forward. The supermoon, again, you know, it's a cycle of growth. It's a cycle of rebirth. And we see that here spelled out so beautifully with the 10 of Swords and the 10 of Cups. There's a sense of something needed to end. And we might mourn its ending so completely and so powerfully that it can take our breath away. But we needed the end to have this new beginning that comes forward. And we're not always going to understand it. We're not always going to see why. But with the full moon in Scorpio, it says it's time to release the negativity. It's time to release the heartbreak that has been defining us, that has been moving us forward, that has been shaping the way that we see things, the way that we see ourselves, the way that we go after what it is that we want. And this is a time to look at the fear and to say, you're a bit of poison, aren't you? And you're keeping me from where I need to be. And it moves us then to the fact that emotions are running high. And with the supermoon, emotions run high. They do. You know, we saw that we are going to be prone to extremes during this time. Why? Because emotions are running high. The supermoon calls forward the emotions. And it brings us to attraction. The emotions that are running high, the things that we are focusing on, that's going to be what's attracted within our lives time and time again. So it's a powerful understanding that comes forward. It's a powerful shift in realizations. And it moves us on the 11th of May to the new moon in Taurus. And this says here, a new start is coming. It brings us to beginnings. We're looking at a new way to move forward to what we want, to where we need to be, to how we're opening up the door, to what it is that we desire. This is a time with this new moon, again, with this full moon, of looking at our limitations and overcoming the things that we thought, oh, I'm always going to have this. Like, this is always going to be a burden that has to be bared. And now we're going to find it doesn't always have to be that way. there can be beauty that moves us forward. There can be brilliance that guides us. There is more here than meets the eye. And we see this around the 11th of May. It's like there's passion, there's intent, there's determination, because the new moon in Taurus, I do apologize for my dogs, says prosperity lies ahead. Prosperity is a part of us, and it lies ahead, and we can feel it. We can feel that we're not these limitations. We're not simply doubts and fears and angers and negativity. There is more here than meets the eye. And as we call upon this inner cycle of growth, we call upon the inner cycle of ourselves. Now, going back to the full moon in Scorpio, with it being, with the full moon being squared Saturn in Aquarius, again, with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus conjunct Uranus. This is so important because Venus, of course, rules love. It rules, our romance, but it also rules our private emotions. So during this time, again, with Uranus bringing out and highlighting the disruptions in our world when it comes to love. Now, it can be the disruptions within our personal relationships. It can be disruptions within our love for ourselves, the way that we want to move forward, what it is that we desire. There's a sense here of things being called out, that we'd rather be kept in the shadows. So this can be emotionally very intense for us. It's like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? Am I moving forward the right way? And with the new moon in Taurus saying prosperity lies ahead, there is this sense of there are greater things to come. There are greater things to come, and the worry can weigh me down for the rest of my life. But it can also be this thing that I take control over and say enough is enough. And it brings us then to the full moon in Sagittarius on the 26th of May. And I love this because it's like we're taking aim. It says, look at the bigger picture. We're looking at the bigger picture, but we're also taking aim at what we want, at what we desire, at how we need to be things, how we need to be, and how things are around us. Okay? I'm just thinking of, I forget his name. I think it's Lance somebody, yeah. He's this guy, he's on YouTube, who is amazing with the bow. Like, he has proven preconceived notions just completely wrong. He has redefined what we think of how the ancients use bows. And so here, that just came right to my head as, Spirit gave that to me, because it's like our preconceived notions of how things have to be done, the steady aiming, the lining things up, doing all these steps. We're going to see, as we start to embrace what we have dedicated our lives to, what we become proficient in within our soul, it's like we're able to take aim so much quicker. We're able to go after what it is that we desire. We're able to look at things with so much more determination, and it leads us to the full moon eclipse, which is during this time, of course, and the supermoon, which is attraction and emotions running high. It says conclusions are within reach. It's like we need the darkness in order to be able to embrace the light within. Now, during this time, during the month of April, the spirit animals are the wolf and the hawk. Now, the wolf says, turn knowledge into wisdom, which is what living is all about. If we live well, we turn the knowledge that we have accumulated into the wisdom for which we live by. And then we have the hawk spirit, and it says, let spirit be your guide, because spirit can see better and fly higher than we ever can. So with the wolf spirit, it's sharpening our intellect, because we're turning the knowledge that we accumulate into the wisdom, again, that we live by. It's a deeper connection. We're not going to be just okay with the way things are. We want deeper connections, and we want them within a pack, within a tribe, within a clan, within a community, Whether that be the community that we make, whether that be the world that we were born into, we want the deeper connections. And we're also going to be very aware of the connections that we have and the place that we stand within them. There's always that romantic statement of the lone wolf. No, wolves don't actually do very well alone. That wolf is usually hyper-stressed, and doesn't have a hunt buddy, doesn't have a person to sing with at night. So there is this sense of isolation. And what we're seeing here is not wanting that sense of isolation anymore. And it can be stepping out of last year and stepping into what it is that's now becoming intrinsically important to us today. So here it's having that song answered. It's seeing what our souls desire. It's being able to move forward. And the hawk spirit, where it says, let spirit be your guide. Well, of course, spirit is going to guide you, because the hawk spirit is the messenger spirit of the world during this time. Well, just period, end of discussion. It's the messenger spirit of the world. And it shows us power and focus. It gives us clear vision and increases our spiritual awareness. So then it leads us to the spirit animals of May. Now, the spirit animal of May is an elk spirit, but the only horned animal I really had was the antelope, so it's standing in. So we have the beaver, which says lay a solid foundation. And the antelope spirit says life is speeding up, which makes sense with the energy that the elk spirit brings. With the beaver spirit, with laying a solid foundation, okay, it's time to trust our creativity. It's time to accomplish what we have thought of through cooperation, through give and take. There's also a sense of needing a motivational jump start. This is a time where we're going to see ourselves jump started towards what we desire, what we want, what we long for, as we lay this foundation, as we're very open, very honest, and very real with ourselves. It then leads us to the elk spirit, which tells us that we're entering into a time of plenty, which tells us that everything you need, you will get. Not everything you want, everything you need. So we might feel very frustrated because it's like, well, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't even close to what I was praying for, wishing for, hoping for, desiring. What we're going to find is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we think we need at this time. Divinity will be lining it up and giving us what we need, what we desire, and the place that we need to be. So I got so excited that I just skipped right forward and right into the moon. So let's see the chakra energy that we need to be mindful of during this time. We need to just be a little bit more kind to. So let's see this, Gemini. April 2021 full moon. How will Gemini be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides. Awesome. I'll turn that around in just a minute. Actually, let's see it right now. It's play. Okay, so here's a powerful thing with play. You do not play when you do not feel safe. Human beings, a sign of play is a sign of feeling safe in the world that we are in. And if we do not feel safe, if we do not feel cared for, if we do not feel, protected, we will not play. The heart chakra right here is what we need to embrace. We need to embrace our hearts, and we need to make time for play, for release, for laughter, for comedy, for our sense of humor to shine through. We need to make time for it. And if we're finding it's hard to laugh, we need to sit ourselves down with something that once upon a time used to make us roll on the floor with laughter and start watching it. We need to make time to let play come in, to let joy come in, to let laughter come in, to be able to just express and be. That's going to be so important for our heart chakras, for our hearts, for ourselves, to have this beauty guiding us forward. Now we need to also look at the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. What is the energy that Gemini needs to be mindful of for the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Awesome. It's the Lord. So the Lord is the emperor. The Lord is going to be rigidity. The Lord can also be like being ready for battle. All right, so during this time, we might be ready for battle. We have the knight right here. We are kind of ready for battle. We're going to look at the things that we are resistant to changing for or changing with, the things that overwhelm us and that put the spotlight on our fears. And instead of saying, I don't have the room for my fears anymore, it's time to release the negativity, it's time to release our fears, we're going to say, this gets to rule me. This is something I can never break free of. This is something that's always going to be the chain around me. And that's just not true. This is a sense of looking at things. And yes, we need order, we need structure. Those things are very important. But, that's why schedules work and everything like that. But there's also a sense of, I need free form. I need expression. I need spontaneity. I need to have the erotic, not sexually the erotic, though that could be a part of it. But I need to have the erotic, the beautiful, the wondrous in my life again. And this is an energy. Now, this could be a patriarchal energy, okay, within our lives. This could be our fathers or our male caregivers that told us not to be so silly, stop being a dreamer, how are you going to pay the bills, get a real job type of energy coming over, or our partners who have said that, who could be very kind of aggressive with it could be with their helping. They think they're helping, but they're not. They're just kind of, for creative people, when people say things like that, it's just killing you slowly, right? So here, there is a sense of stepping up against this negativity, this ferocity, and saying, there's more here. There's more to me than rules and regulations. So we moved to the knight, which is funny because knights have rules and regulations. Knights weren't just, you didn't just become a knight because you wanted to. You became a knight because you trained. You became a knight because you sacrificed. And these are our sacrifices, and these are our trainings, and this is what we've, embraced as a skill. We've learned how to wield the weapon. And that's the interesting thing about the swords. And that's also an interesting thing with being born as an air sign. We're represented by the swords. We're represented by a weapon. And it's important to remember this. It's important to remember the ferocity of the coming together, the understanding, the intensity of where we want to be. We cut through so much during this time. It's also being able to embrace our voice, to embrace what we desire, to embrace what we want. There is a sense of speaking that into reality. There might be a lot of things that we haven't spoken about, that we just kept hidden away, and we think, I can't bring that to the surface because nobody will understand. And there's a sense here with the King of Swords is fiercely moving forward towards what we desire, towards what we want, towards what we need. This is a time, especially within our inner selves, it's like, no, I'm not going to be held back. I'm not going to be kept silent. I'm going to go after what I want, and I'm going to go after it with ferocity of self. The Knight of Swords has this intensity to them, and we will have this intensity to us. We have to be astoundingly careful not to just get swept away in everything, not to get so taken by everything that we just charge forward without truly thinking, without truly understanding, because that's another thing that the Knight of Swords can do. The Knight of Swords can be so caught up in the idea of it all, the ideal, the perfection of it, that we just move forward and don't think about the consequences or the long term. So there's going to need to be a kind of checks and balance area that guides us during this time, during this moon, but there's a ferocity to us. And it leads us to the Six of Cups. Now, I always see the Six of Cups as the past coming forward, and the past like being stuck in nostalgia, being stuck in a sense of, things were better when. And I guess that's nostalgia, but it's also never being able to measure up. All right, it's also the negative words that were spoken over us when we were little, those that have defined us for so long, they're coming up again. They're being played again. So with the Six of Cups, I see this as intense. I see this as painful. I see this as powerful. And my friend, when he was reading for me, he had the Six of Cups, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he's like, this is joy. This is joy. This is being able to be playful again, which is what our heart chakra deeply longs for. So I think that is absolutely brilliant that his words just smacked me in the face while I was turning over the cards. So there's the sense of there's so much baggage, right? We all come with so much baggage. And people always say children are resilient. But how resilient are they if all our scars begin in childhood? So here, there is this sense of the hurts and the pains and the negativity and the angers and the upsets of when we were small and of the past coming forward. But there's also this beauty to it. There's also this beauty to us. There's also this sense of, look how far I've come. Look how much I've succeeded at. Instead of always putting ourselves down because we have the next battle to go after, because we're trying to prove to people who maybe are more conventional than we are that we're worth it too. It's like, no, but there's a brilliance here. There's a brilliance to me, and there has been a brilliance to me since I was small. And now I get to have that shine. And as we let that shine within us, as we say, this is me, there is this give and this take and this way that this brother is helping out his sister, or, friends are helping out each other. This older child is helping out this younger child. There's this beauty, to us, in a sense of a give and a take, of a guidance, of a mentorship. And it can even be, connecting with our inner child inside and being that older guidance to say, it'll be okay. Things will turn out differently than you expected. And it brings us then to the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is a wish coming forward, but we don't see it. Why? Because we're focused here. We also have our arms our arms are closed. We're kind of crossed up. We're guarded. Okay, we're a little bit tightly guarded during this time. We're thinking, there's so much on my plate. There's so much to be done. I have this that needs to be done, and I'm not going to be looking at things in a different way. So don't even bother. But what divinity is doing is handing us a gift that is powerful, a gift that is brilliant, a gift that is aligned with our energy and our desires and what we need and what we want and what we're longing for. And it comes in a way that if it was a nice wrapped up little gift, it wouldn't be as meaningful. It wouldn't be as powerful. It wouldn't be as intense. the Four of Cups is going to give us something that is desperately needed. Okay, it's also going to have us become more aligned with ourselves. It can be the catalyst that, like, all of a sudden, it's the one thing that's put on our shoulders and we just can't take it anymore. You know, we just can't. It's like, oh my gosh. And then, so it's put on us emotionally, but it affects us mentally so intensely. And it has a sense here that, like, okay, this is what happens. This is how I fall apart. This is what I've been through. Or it can be something that made us fall apart. And now we're looking at it and we're looking back and it's like, oh wow, that was a game changer. That was literally a game changer. And now I need to rest. Like, I need to rest. I need to take care of myself. I need to align with myself because I'm releasing the heartbreak. I'm releasing the hurt and the pain and the disappointment that has defined me for so long. I am no longer the sum of my failures. That we as human beings, we tend to make ourselves the sum of our failures. It's like, well, this relationship ended, you know, this happened, that happened, I didn't get the job that I wanted, I didn't graduate with the grades that I wanted, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And it's like, okay, stop. Stop and look at the pain that we carry. And things that we carry because somebody once told us we were inadequate. Somebody once told us we weren't as lovable as we thought we were. Somebody once. And those scars went in, they went in young. It could have gone in childhood, adolescence, it doesn't matter. It could be early adulthood, but usually it's between childhood and adolescence. And those scars built over time. And now we take them out. We take out those swords that were put in and are stabbed just a little bit deeper, a little bit more hurtfully as time goes on. And the Three of Swords makes us step back and makes us say, okay, what is the hurt that I bring to the table? What is the pain that has defined me my whole entire life? What are my inadequacies? How do I see myself? Why am I so hard on myself? What do I desire? It moves us to the Nine of Cups, because it's like all of a sudden our heart does this shift and our heart starts to open. This full moon makes our heart open, which can be astoundingly uncomfortable. It can be aggravating. It can make us feel vulnerable in ways that we do not want to be vulnerable. It can make us angry, but it connects us once again with the erotic, with the beautiful, with the sensual. And that's so interesting because we're in this Taurus time frame, right? And Taurus time frame, we always think of Taurus as like the workers, the stubborn, steady as they go, but get the job done type of people. They're also astoundingly sensual. And if we do not let that sensuality shine in a Taurus era or within a Taurus, there's a beauty that is missing and we can feel it. And what's worse, they know it, they feel it. It becomes a defining factor. And so here, during this time, we're looking at things and we're being steady, we're being stable, we're being, practical, right? Because we have that sun that comes in, that Taurus sun that is telling us to be all these things. But we have the Scorpio moon that's coming, and it's like death and rebirth, transformation and redefining, understand, gain, see, desire, look. And that is going to be what really moves us into us. It's like this beautiful juxtaposition and this beautiful coming together, and it leads us to the Nine of Cups. And the Nine of Cups, no wish is being granted. There's beauty coming forward. It can be that we're getting exactly what we need. Again, not what we want, but what we need. And there's a beauty to it. There's a power to us. People see it. We don't see it. We don't see it at all. I mean, he's sitting here. I mean, you can think like he's kind of sitting like a bit of a fat cat. Like, yeah, I'm good. Look at all that I have. They could also just be sitting there with his arms crossed, a little bit, a little bit happy, but also a little bit like, guarding himself, because he doesn't see that he has all the blessings around him. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that there's wealth that's coming. He doesn't know that there's beauty that's coming. He doesn't know that there is enough. And so here we start to see this. We start to see this within ourselves. We start to see this towards what we desire. We begin to see what others already know. And there can be a mockery around the heart during this time, because it's like, well, how could you not have known this? It's so prevalent. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful. So emotionally, we might be coming into this realization, and we say this to somebody, we're all excited, and they go, well, duh. Obviously, didn't you see this before? Didn't you know this? Like, how slow are you? And so it can take the wind right out of our sails, because we do have our scars that do come forward during this time and make us feel like, oh, don't let that happen. Well, even if it does happen, acknowledge it, own it, and be like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't cool of you. And okay, that hurt. but I'm still moving forward. I'm still embracing the beautiful abundance that is coming my way. And it leads us to our fears. And that's another thing that comes forward when we start to see our blessings come. It's really interesting because we have the Nine of Cups and the Ten of Cups. We have that beautiful progression, all right? But in the middle, we have fear and we have doubt and we have death and we have rebirth and we have a sense that we're not the same person that we were going into this. Now, it can be going into this moon. It can be that we're not the same person we were a year ago. I mean, so many of us have gone through this, and like the whole world has gone through this profound transformation. And it leads us to the moon. It leads us to seeing what we're afraid of. It leads us to our conscious, the dog, and the subconscious, the wolf, part of ourselves. We have the lobster right here. Lobsters, when they are big, when they have big pincers, okay, they have heightened serotonin levels. They have this sense of success, this sense of power to them. And that's what we're doing as we come out of the water, as we are reborn. We have this sense of power to us as we go and we walk on land, as we embrace the earth. And there is a sense here that the sun and the moon, because the moon here has the sun's light behind it, it always reflects. So our subconscious will always reflect our conscious will always reflect our subconscious. We can never get away from the beautiful dance. The dark will always reflect the light, and the light will always have the shadows within it. That's what gives it depth. And so here, there's a beauty to us, there is an understanding to us, there is a sense of fear, doubt, anger, upset, upheaval, but also recollection, understanding, healing, contentment, and it leads us to the Ten of Swords. It leads us, maybe it's not the most comfortable place emotionally that we want to be, it leads us to this hurt. It leads us to saying, I can't take it anymore. Like, I can't be stabbed one more time. I'm already, like, down on the floor dead. Like, come on. What the heck? I've already given up. But what this is the darkness before the dawn. What this is the powerful rebirth that comes. Who we once were, again, we're not that person anymore. And it can be said, it can be beautiful, that we will never be that person again. But what it is it's honest. And the Ten of Swords is wisdom. Swords are expensive. In medieval times, especially and before, swords were what you were given when you were made into a hero, when your family was lifted out of poverty, because most of the world that wasn't nobility was poverty, okay? The merchant class came around with importance, and people didn't always know what to do with them. But to be nobility, that was understood. To have 10 swords within you. To be dead, but in such a way that you are now wise. So there is a part of us, that dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new that comes forward. This is my minor arcana death card. So this, instead of a reflection of the moon, of the full moon, of Scorpio, with the death card, okay? Because Scorpio is represented by the death card in the major arcana. We have it in the minor arcana. We have it in ways that it won't be so hit you right in between the eyes type of energy. Here, there is a wisdom to it. There is a slow understanding of it. There is a hurt. There is a pain. There is a knowledge. There's a sense of, I am now armed to face the world, because the naivety is gone. And we might mourn the naivety. But yet, there is this childlike sense of, I can do so much more. I can move so much further than I ever thought I could. This childlike sense now of, I can handle it. I can do it. I can go for it. And it's not naivety anymore. It's the sense of, I've walked to hell and back. I've been through the storm. I've seen it. I've lived it. And I'm not going to be held silent or quiet anymore. I have this wealth. I can take these swords and I rise. This is the darkness, the silence before the dawn. This is the moon before the sun comes. And everything we think about, everything we wonder, everything we doubt ourselves about, everything that is chaos around us, that comes up at night. And in the dawn, there's new realization that comes forward. There's new power that gets to be a part of us. And it brings us to the happily ever after, to the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is love. The Ten of Cups is brilliant. The Ten of Cups is family, or what we value as much as family. The Ten of Cups is happiness and contentment. And it's rejoicing. It's the understanding of the adults. And it's also, okay, because their clothes are mirrored, right? It's also the empowerment of the next generation. It's a sense of play. It's a sense of ritual. It's a sense of power and beauty and joy and understanding and success and a job well done. And it moves us. It's at our root. We need to have that. During this time, if we are completely negative on ourselves all the time, okay, first of all, that would never, lead for fertile ground to have, this beautifulness bloom forward. But during this time, if we are harshly negative and locked by fear, day in, day out, it's going to rob us of something that other people can see. And they might be kind of angry, aggressive towards us because they do not understand why we're not taking the gift, why we're not embracing this power. And it leads us to the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is the person who holds the world in their hands. It's like, I can see it now. I can see it. I can look into the world. I can look out of the world. And things start to become clear. It can also be that I want to control the world, but I'm not really feeling that as much here. It's like, I can look into it. I can see my little corner of the world. I do not need to own the world. I do not need to be, defined by the rest of the world. What I need is my powerful understanding. And what I need is the beauty that is me, to come forward, to embrace me, to look at things with desire and understanding, to be able to walk out of the gates that bind me, and to say there's more here. There's more here that meets the eye, and it's in the public arena. And what's so interesting, it's like we're walking out into the world, we're going after it, and then we have the Hierophant and the Four of Swords, which is like we turn inwards. We can see our place or kind of start to get the outline of where we want to stand, of the story that we want to tell of our lives. Life is stories. Every single life is a story. Every single time we fall in love, or, we embrace our family unit, we intertwine our stories. We embrace friends. We intertwine our stories. So here with the Hermit, we're looking at what we desire, what we want. We've seen that we can move outside, right? But now we're looking at our own story, at what we desire. We're looking at the way that we intertwine with people, yes. We're looking at the way that we want our voice to be heard, the passion that we have, the determination that we have, absolutely. But then we turn inward, and things start to become illuminated. We start to see ourselves in a different light. We start to see ourselves in a more powerful way. We start to look at things more openly, more honestly, but we need the quiet. And that's where the Four of Swords comes in. It's like we need that quiet introspection, understanding, connection, because it is so imperative. It is so important, and it is intrinsic to who we are. If we do not rest, if we do not let ourselves heal, we will burn out. We will feel overwhelmed, we will feel tired and cranky and not be able to do anything. So if we step back and say, I'm embracing the wisdom, the star, the wish that guides me, the story that I want to tell the world, the way that I want to move it forward. Writers do not sit in, in loud places. Well, some do, but, and ask everybody else what they think they should be writing. That you never get anywhere. But if you sit in contemplation and say, what is my story? What is the burden that I carry? What is the hurt that I've endured? What is the love that I bring into the world? What is special about me? What is beautiful about me? What is unique? And then we see how far we've come. How many trials and obstacles and hurts and pains and upsets were put in our way. And where we stand now. And how that differs than where we stood 4 years ago. Or maybe even 4 months ago. Where is it that we want to be? What is it that we've endured that we never want to endure again? What are the lessons that we have learned the hard way? Because that's the way where the lessons really stick. We have the repeat of the number 9 here. It shows us that we're coming to a completion of a cycle, all right? Around passion and around the heart. We have the heart and we have the mind here. Okay, so these are the completions of the cycle. Emotionally, we're making a decision. Emotionally, because we have faced these fears, because we are determined and focused and dedicated, we're opening up the door. And mentally, we're seeing that we're not the same person that we once were. And that can be upsetting, but it's also empowering. And it moves us to the Page of Swords. It moves us to being a student of our breath, of our words, of our power, of our nobility of spirit, of the determination of ourselves, of the way we want to move forward, of what it is that we look for, of what it is that we desire. We embrace it. This is a time to learn. This is a time to gather, to understand, because this is a time where, by doing so, we will be automatically in our element, the element of learning, the element of communication, okay? Gathering, gaining understanding and reason. But also, during this time, to learn is going to be empowered. It's going to change the game in the public arena. It's like if we charge forward recklessly, okay, which we can do within our inner self, kind of say, well, I wonder what this will bring, and run down that road and be like, oh, okay, not what I wanted, not what I needed. I understand it. But here, if we are the student, if we are the watchers and the listeners and the gatherers and the understanders, that's the game changer. Because while everybody is talking over everybody else, which seems to be our world, right? And everybody is saying, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, which again seems to be our world. You will be the one who is listening. You will be the one who is understanding. You will be the one who is gathering. And when you speak, there will be gravitas behind what is said. There will be power and there will be wisdom. And there will be this sense of knowing, this authenticity, and this radiance that cannot be faked. It just can't be. And if people try to, they kind of get called out on it rather quickly. So also, student of the breath, I have linked in the description box below the Wim Hof method of breathing, okay, the breathing exercises, which is so helpful. I would suggest, I have the regular one, all right? I would suggest starting with the beginner if you are just starting, all right? Meditation, also highly important when it comes to being able to channel the mind, see what we want, see what we desire, get kind of everything settled, get things more focused, okay? There's power here. Embrace that power. Let's look again at what the moon has to say. Gemini. How will Gemini be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly, guide this reading. And show me clearly, please, angels and spirit guides. Guide us. Guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Okay. Bring love into the situation, the erotic, the beautiful, the art of it all. Communication is key, absolutely, and because, again, of us being conjunct Uranus, this is going to be the time of Mercury being conjunct Uranus. This is going to be the time of looking at where the disruptions, the wounds, the hurts of the world in communication are. And it can become intense, but it's also going to become astoundingly liberating. We have the new moon on the 11th in Taurus, and now we have the full moon in Taurus. It says your dreams need a practical plan. So during this time, as we are bringing love into the situation, as we are, expanding our communicative skills, we need to have a practical plan for our beautiful dreams. And then we have be bold and make the first move. I mean, that's it. Like, that's the night. It's like, I'm not going to wait for somebody else to decide it's time, and I'm going for it. The end of a tough cycle approaches. It's like, thank goodness, I've waited so long, and a win-win outcome is forecast. It's like, there's a win. No matter which way we move forward, there's a win. It could be at different levels of intensity, of course, but there is still a powerful and beautiful win here that is waiting for us to embrace it, that is having us, see things more clearly. And so bringing love into the situation as we are charging forward, as we are connecting with the past, which can bring a lot of pain with it. But there's also this sense of beautiful childlike release, the sense of children being able to play in the forest, in the woods, on the beach, wherever it is that children play or that you played when you were little, that brought you so much joy. It's that laughter, being able and getting to fill the corners of your mind, the depths of the heart, the light and the beauty of the self. And then it moves us to communication being key. If we do not talk about it, okay, if we let fear build up within us and we don't have a release, that release can be a journal, that release can be, talking to ourselves, that release can be talking to a friend, it can be talking to a professional. But if we do not have this release, we will never realize the power, the potency, the brilliance of our dreams. We will always be sitting in front of it. Others will see it. We ourselves will not see it. So that's going to be so important. The new moon in Gemini, the darkness, the quiet, the meditative state of consciousness is going to be intrinsic to us. It leads us to the full moon in Taurus. Your dreams need a practical plan. It's not enough just to want it, just to wish it, just to dream it. We have to give it a practicality, and we have to give it a sense of power. Be bold, make the first move. Don't be shy. Like, don't be shy. Don't sit there and think, oh, somebody else will do it, or, oh, I couldn't possibly say that. What will they think of me? Be bold. Be brazen. Go after it. The end of a tough cycle approaches. It's been long enough, and we've waited long enough. It's been a long, hard road. It doesn't mean everything automatically becomes easier. It means that things do become a bit more clear, that we start to see the end that brings forward a beautiful beginning, that brings forward a new way of looking at things. We start to see a change coming. A win-win outcome is forecast. There's balance here. There's beauty. We get to have a win. No matter which road we walk down, no matter how we kind of skip and change and embrace things, there's a win that's forecasted for us. There's a goal that is met, a power that is embraced, a knowledge that is had. It leads us then to our subconscious moon message, which is the new moon in Leo, which is confidence is your key to success. Don't apologize. Don't apologize for the power and the brilliance and the intensity that is you. It leads us then to go deeper into our moon consciousness, or our moon subconscious. Patience. Patience is never something we like to hear, but it's something that is so valuable and important. The patience of building the dream, the patience of ourselves when things aren't going right, or with ourselves when things aren't going right, when it seems like everything is slowing down, when we question, when we hurt, when there is pain, where there is disappointment. Patience. Patience guides us, and patience is going to be a divine part of us. Our subconscious chakra message is the inner child. Again, the heart chakra coming through. It's so important for us to embrace our heart chakras, for us to look at what we love and what we need and what is, prevalent and powerful within our hearts, for us to connect with the child that we once were and align with the adult we are today. And just do a little exercise. I love doing this because it is so emotionally freeing to just visualize yourself holding your arms open to the child that you were, and letting that child that you were run into your arms and holding you and saying, I love you. I care for you. I will always be there for you. I'm the adult that will not leave, that will not break their word. I see you and I love you, just the way you are. It leads us to our subconscious person message, which is the King of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We have to be mindful of not losing ourselves in the search of money. And I know money is important. We need money to live. Believe me, I understand. But if we lose ourselves to what other people deem to be important, put value on more than what our hearts are putting value on, what our souls desire, it can be really hard and it can be really overwhelming. We can start to feel worthless, excuse me, and as if we're not moving in the right direction. This is embracing our prosperity, our wealth, our greater understanding of self. This is looking at things and knowing that we can claim this throne as well as anybody else. And we can start seeing the interconnectedness of things. And what once people thought of as silly and, irrelevant, we start to see as powerful and brilliant and aligned with our greatest desires. Our subconscious tarot message is the Knight of Pentacles, Earth sign energy once again. But we are slowly and steadily moving forward in prosperity, in wealth, and in what we desire. It's been a long road. It's been a hard road. It's been intense. It's been overwhelming. But we are moving to a place of wealth and stability. And that is priceless. All right, Gemini, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the blessings of this pink moon, as we embrace the blooming of our desires and the beauty of our lives and our dreams. So let's take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini, and may you have a blessed moon.